FPL Game Week 38, the final game week of the season. In today's video, I will delve into the best fixtures to target and the key players who could help you climb the ranks or secure your mini league win. Whether you're playing it safe and protecting your lead or chasing and looking to take a punt, I've got you covered. I will focus on differentials, those under the radar picks that could help you turn your mini league on its head. The target for today's video is 20 likes. Let's see if we can smash it. Alright, intro out the way, let's get into it. So here we have it. Game Week 38 Fixture Ticker, with the Europa League and Conference League final. As you can see, Arsenal and Bournemouth were the easiest fixtures, with Ipswich and West Ham playing each other. But the main focus will be on the teams trying to get top 5, which includes Aston Villa, Man City, Newcastle, Chelsea and Nottingham Forest. On the right hand side of the graph, I've put teams to target. Bournemouth, West Ham, Aston Villa, Man City and Newcastle have all got a green, with Arsenal, Ipswich, Nottingham Forest and Chelsea with yellow. The rest are reds. I felt that graph was a little bit confusing, so I've shortlisted it to the 9 teams I think we should target. First of all, Bournemouth and West Ham. Both have got fixtures against relegated sides, against Leicester and Ipswich. Both teams could be good to target players from. Next I want to talk about Arsenal, who have also got a really easy fixture. So with the win against Newcastle at the weekend, they've already secured second place. So there could be a rotation, so that's why they're in yellow. Ipswich are at home against West Ham. This isn't a team that many managers will be looking at, but with this in mind, it could be a good route to differentials, and I've handpicked 2 later in my shortlists. The main focus of the weekend will be on top 5 and the push for Champions League football next season. 5 teams pushing for the top 3 positions. Aston Villa are away against United. United currently 16th in the league, so the league match on Sunday is not important. The main focus is Europa League final tonight, and if they win, expect celebrations, and if they lose, expect them not to be that motivated about Sunday's match anyway. Now we have Man City away against Fulham and Newcastle at home against Everton. Both have something to play for. I expect both to win, so both have players that you could target. Nottingham Forest and Chelsea play each other, and both have something to play for. But even as a Chelsea fan, I'm not sure I can predict that match. And for this reason, I put it in yellow. I expect a very cagey match unless one team scores very early on, but Chelsea might turn their attention to the Conference League final against Real Betis on Wednesday. Okay, with all this in mind, let's have a look at the shortlist of goalkeepers. So here we have it, the 3-man shortlist. Raya, Kepa and Pope. Let's start off with Raya. At the start of the week, I did think he might be rested, but he's on 13 clean sheets with Sells, so I do expect him to start and try and keep a clean sheet to win the Golden Glove. I do expect a clean sheet from Arsenal, but they could rotate and make subs, which could weaken them, so a clean sheet wipeout could happen. Next up is Pope and Kepa. I expect both to keep clean sheets, but I'm not sure I'll be using a transfer on them this late on in the season. But if you need a goalkeeper and you're chasing, then them 2 are the really good picks. If you're playing it safe, then Raya's your pick. If you're chasing, then pick Kepa or Pope. Next up, let's look at the shortlisted defenders. So here we are. First of all, let's look at the Arsenal defenders. Saliba has been a very good, trustworthy asset this season, but with him 30% owned and him coming off at half-time last match, I'm not sure I'll be buying him, and most likely turn my attention to White or Timber. But with both picks, I'd wait closer to the deadline and see if either of them have started. The last thing you want to do with the last transfer of the season is buy somebody that's benched. Next up is the Bournemouth defenders. Kirkaz will be my number 1 pick out of them, but Huijsen will be playing his last home game before he moves to Real Madrid, and with him being so lowly owned, it could be a really good differential. Next up is Wan-Bissaka. He isn't somebody that's been on my radar all season, and to be truthfully honest, I'm not very confident on a West Ham clean sheet, but playing away against Ipswich and only 5.6 owned, it could be a really good differential. The attacking threat has been there this season, with 2 goals and 5 assists. 2 of his assists have came in the last 3 games, and away against Ipswich, he should have high chances of getting a clean sheet, assist, or maybe a goal. Next up is Livramento and Burn. At home against Everton, and with Newcastle trying to get top 5, they should be fully focused on trying to get the win. As I've mentioned earlier in the video, I've not been that impressed with Everton's attack this season, so I think there's a very good chance of a clean sheet. If I was to pick one or the other, I'd likely buy Livramento because I favour him playing at fullback. Next up is Konsa. With Konsa away against United, I'm not confident on a clean sheet. I like this fixture for Aston Villa, but it comes with a bit of a warning. The Manchester United could score, and while I know Konsa got a goal last game, I wouldn't be expecting attacking returns for him. And lastly, we have Gvardiol, who is away against Fulham. If I was playing it safe and trying to protect a lead, then I'd look at him. If I was chasing, I'd look at other players in the list. The players that I like the most are Kirkaz, Wan-Bissaka, White and Timber. They all offer you chances of clean sheets and potential attacking returns, which could be very beneficial in the last game week rank. Now with that out of the way, let's focus on the midfield, with the shortlist having some very interesting differentials in it. Let's start off with the elephant in the room. Amari Hutchinson.
What?
That probably nobody has picked, with him just 0.3% owned. With you chasing, this could be a highly good differential. With his ability to create chances and cut in and score goals against the West Ham defence, he could easily get an attacking return. Now let's focus on the players that most managers are looking at. Kluivert and Semenyo at home against Leicester. A very good chance that both could get attacking returns, so both could be very good picks this week. Next we have Bowen away against Ipswich. Annoyingly, he's been at the top of my shortlist for weeks, but with other fires to put out, I'm yet to buy, but this game week could change that. I currently own Saka, and I held on to him for this match in particular. But as I've said, I'm a tad worried about rotation, and Saka's minutes could be reduced, which lessens the appeal. But away against Southampton match, it would be crazy to not shortlist him and think about him as an option. Same goes for Martinelli, Odegaard and Trossard. They all have a good chance of getting an attacking return, but you run the chances of a minutes risk. Rodgers away against Manchester United. On paper it looks like a good fixture, but it also could be a very disappointing one. If you're playing it safe, then he's a good pick. If you're chasing, I'd give it a miss. Next, let's talk about the Newcastle assets. Murphy, Gordon and Barnes. It's hard to really pick which one I'd recommend, but if you twisted my arm, I'd probably go for Gordon, with him more likely getting an attacking return. Next we have Kevin De Bruyne. With Kevin De Bruyne, it's a bit of a story pick. His last ever game for Man City. Would you be surprised if he got an attacking return? I wouldn't. And lastly, we have Kudus, which I know isn't as appealing as Bowen, but if you're chasing and looking for a differential, then it could be a really good option. If I was buying to chase rank or leapfrog a mini-league rival, then I'd contemplate Kudus to have that little bit of an edge. And let's be honest, back into the season, we need a bit of fun and something to make it interesting. Last of all, let's look at the forward shortlist, the players that are more likely to score. And here we have it, the 8-man shortlist. Let's start off with the highly owned players. Watkins, away against Man United. Many transferred him in last week, but it's not too late. And with Isaac missing the game week last week, it could be an easy switch from Isaac to Watkins. But I'd hold off, because Isaac could come back into the team, which would make him a really good option for this week. Haaland's back from injury, and like Watkins and Isaac, his side need to win the game if they are to have any chance of getting top 5. All three are lethal in front of goal, and I won't be surprised if they got an attacking return. And it all depends how much budget you've got. As I've mentioned previously, I would hold off all transfers on all of them until close to the deadline and see if we get any leaks. Because the last thing you want to do is -4 to get Haaland and then see a leak that he has been benched. The chances of Watkins being benched is very, very low, with Rashford unable to play against his parent club due to Premier League loan rules. Next we have Evan Nielsen. At home against Leicester, I expect goals, so it could be a very good pick. As of time of recording, 4.1%. As we get closer to the deadline, I expect that ownership to be over 10%. So the differential pick won't be as differential, but a solid transfer to make. Next on my shortlist is Havertz. Unlike all the other Arsenal players, this has a cautious approach, because he's only just back from injury, and I'm not sure if he starts, or in how many minutes he gets if he does. Another differential is Delap at home against West Ham, and with the likes of Manchester United and Chelsea looking at him, it could be the last chance to impress this season, and the same goes with Kuna. And lastly on my shortlist, Callum Wilson. Pre-game week 37, he wouldn't have made it onto my shortlist, but with Isaac not in the matchday squad last game, there's a possibility that he starts, and if he does, he could score. And at just 0.2% owned, he could be a really good differential. To wrap all this up, let's look at the safe picks. Watkins, Evan Nielsen, Isaac and Haaland. Well, yes, I know Evan Nielsen is lowly owned, but by the end of the deadline, I don't think he will be. Then we have the 4 risky punty picks. Havertz, Delap, Wilson and Kuna. All a high risk, high reward. I really like the Wilson pick, but all this will depend on team news. So let's see what the managers say on press conference day, and if we get any elite team news before deadline. With every one of these picks in the shortlist, my advice for the game week will be hold off on transfers. All matches kick off at the same time, so the chances of early team news is very high, and the last thing you want to do is make a transfer on minus points and the player be benched, and instead of helping rank, you've blown your chances and potentially giving your league rival the edge. Also, if you do hold off on transfers, the player that you ideally wanted at the start of the week or now could be the least of your worries, and somebody potentially that you've locked in could be benched, and that player looking like the ideal one to sell. For example, in my team, I've got Saliba and Saka. Neither of them I want to sell, playing away against Southampton, but if they are benched, players like Kirkhead, Bowen, Kluivert and Semenyo become players that I really want. With it being the end of the season, team value is not important. As long as you can afford the players that you want, then don't stress about money. Do you think I've missed any transfer recommendations in my shortlist? Comment below. If you made it this far, you're a legend. And if you enjoyed it, hit that like button. My target is 20 likes. And if you found this video helpful, click the subscribe button. It will really help. My team selection video is coming soon. I'm 750 places away from top 10k, and I'm potentially going to do a high risk, high reward transfer to get me in the position I want to be. So come along for the ride and hopefully witness me do it. I'd love to hear your recommendations so I make the perfect transfer. Anyway, signing off, and I'll see you on the next one.